words for being ungrateful is kufr. Kufr is not just disbelief. Kufr is also kufran al-ni'mah. It means to be ungrateful. So Allah says, وَمَن يَتَبَدَّلِ الْكُفْرَ بِالْإِيمَانِ فَقَدْ ضَلَّ سَوَاءَ السَّبِيلِ. Are you going to ask questions like Musa was asked before? Because whoever replaces kufr with iman, meaning they took their iman, got rid of it, put kufr there instead, and they've gone off on the wrong path. That's why they are asking these wrong kinds of questions. This is a crisis because now, because of the devices that we have, Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube Shorts, new idea, constantly being bombed with new ideas. And with every new idea, you have different kinds of questions. And then you say, Islam doesn't have the answer. There's so many different ideas, and Islam has no direction, no answer. Now, this is the last thing I'll share with you. I'd like you to take this as the lesson. We all have questions. We're human beings. You can't help it. There's no way you can stop your mind from having questions. But try this for me. Take all of your questions, and you take a shelf in your brain, and you put them in the shelf, and you lock the shelf. Close it. Hold your questions. Don't think about them all the time. Let them go. And then start studying the Quran. Study the Fatiha, study Baqarah, study Al-Imran. Take time, even if it's little, 30 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day, but study Allah's book and think about what Allah is saying. Think about what Allah, don't think about it from the point of view of your question. I'm looking for the answer to my question, let me see if I find it. No. Your questions are on pause. They're in the fridge. Let them get cold. Your focus is on what Allah is saying. And you know what's going to happen? So many of your questions will start disappearing because you'll realize those questions were pointless. There was no purpose to them. When Musa alayhi salam was asked what color cow, there was no point to that question. When he was asked, is it a young cow or an old cow, there was no point to that question. There was no reason to ask that question. When the Quraysh said the Prophet ﷺ, isn't he a poet? Isn't he a magician? Isn't he they asked all these questions. Allah didn't answer any of those questions. They say this, leave them alone. They say this, leave them alone. There are so many places in the Quran where people ask a question, Allah doesn't even answer it. أَإِذَا كُنَّا عِظَامًا وَرُفَاتًا أَإِنَّا لَمَبْعُوثُونَ خَلْقًا جَدِيدًا. When we are broken, our bones are broken in the grave and we turn into dust and decay, we're going to be made a new creation all over again? I'm going to be brought back to life? How? This is a question they asked. Allah said, قُلْ كُونُوا حِجَارَةً أَوْ حَدِيدًا. Go turn into metal. Go turn into a stone. I'll bring you. That's not an answer. That's like, this is a stupid question. It doesn't deserve an answer. So what does Allah do when you study the Quran? He guides your questions. Guidance does not come from answers. Guidance comes from asking the right questions. And that's the lesson that's being taught in this ayah. So in this short time, my hope is that as you put those questions on the side and you start asking Allah directly what He's talking about, focus on the lesson at hand, you will find that eventually you'll open that shelf and it will be empty inside. There won't be anything left. All those questions will either disappear or Allah will answer them in a way that no human being could answer them. That is the gift that Allah has given us in the Quran. That's why He keeps telling us not أَفَلَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Why don't you know? Why don't you know? Allah says, أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. Why don't you then think? Don't you think? لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ. So you can think, because questions are related directly to thought. What you think about is what you will ask about. What I think about is what I will ask about. I pray that Allah makes us people that think about the Quran. They think about the word of Allah, because that will guide our thoughts. And once our thoughts are guided, our questions are also going to be guided, and we'll be saved from making the mistake that Allah is warning about to the Muslims here in this remarkable ayah.